Is Black History Month just another part of American capitalism?
Ooh, man, that's a great question. That's a
Right.
really great question. So I really, for me, I think this is definitely one that is close to me and close to my heart to speak on because I've been saying for years exactly that. That Black History Month is at this point just another part of American capitalism,
I
and
agree.
specifically a way for them to capitalize off of Black folks and other races who, call themselves our partners or supporters and etc., who
Right.
are feeling obligated to support. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the reality is straightforward. It most certainly is that. However, that doesn't mean that we also shouldn't take advantage of it at the same time. Right.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, because in reality, Black people and their accomplishments and contributions to society obviously should be highlighted all year long.
All
And
day.
in my family and household, they are,
Yeah,
right?
all
Like
day,
this
every
is
day.
it's exactly. It's not like, okay, for 28 days out of the year, shortest month of the year, of course. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only time we're going to focus on Black history. No, in this family, we are discussing the accomplishments, the contributions throughout the year as appropriate, whenever, however, because of course we appreciate all of those who came before us that paved the way for us to even do what we're doing right now, this platform. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to have this podcast, have this discussion without some of the many sacrifices of folks before us.
Very
Um,
true. Very true.
yeah, so definitely, for me, Black History Month is non-existent. It's Black History Year. It's Black History
Mm-hmm.
existence in general. We are always appreciative of all the sacrifices those before us made. However, since it's going to happen, since we know that people are going to take advantage of the empathy that other races will try to exude for this period of time, why shouldn't Black folks also capitalize on it as well? I mean, this is the perfect opportunity to uplift our businesses and et cetera that otherwise throughout the year would not have such easily funded advertising,
Right.
i.e., all of these social media sites and et cetera. They want to talk about Black businesses and all of that stuff this month. Okay, use that opportunity to capitalize on that free advertisement. Get your businesses out there, call into those radio stations that any other time of the year might not think twice about advertising your business. Get that free media out there,
Oh
utilize that,
yeah. Oh yeah. You
right?
gotta use that free media, do some promo for free, marketing for free. Yeah. We need to do all that.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? We know the truth. A lot of people want to live in this world of naivety where everything is equal now. Everything is not fucking equal now. And
Bullshit.
we and we know that, right?
That post-racial bullshit.
Exactly. We're not there. So like we could cut the shit with that. But the reality of it is, we have to use the tools that are made available to us. Does that make it right? Absolutely not. Right. And they know what they're doing with this shit. I mean, if you think about it, it's actually rather insulting. Right. Because we're still the only one of a few groups. I'm going to say not only, but one of a few groups who haven't even received any appropriate form of reparations yet. I
Oh
mean,
boy. Reparations.
Native Americans have, Japanese Americans
Japanese.
have as
Yep.
tributes towards, the World War II internment camps. But what does Black people have received? Affirmative action? I mean, what good is that doing when we're still in the same place almost as we were when that was first presented?
Right.
I mean, for some in power, it's not even a consideration. And, you know, they make the most absolute moot arguments when it comes to reparations that, oh, it's because we're not the ones who actually suffered. Okay, the same could be said about, you know, Native Americans and Japanese Americans and etc. who have received reparations. And don't get me wrong, I don't want anyone to come for me. I'm not saying that those groups weren't deserving of that. Of course they were, but that's the point, fine. Right? All of us were, right? But yet we're the group who are still the most disenfranchised. We still have to fight to have basic rights like being able to walk down the damn street without worrying about losing our lives for that. I mean, the reality of it is there are a lot of folks who still, you know, look at these other races or these other minorities as tolerable minorities. Whereas Black people, you know what I mean? Like they're the ideal minority. Right. Okay. Whereas Black people are looked at as the problematic minority, right? We're too in their face. We're not just content with what's been given to us. And so when you think about that and you think about all of the different just avenues that are provided to folks in other groups. I mean, business loans are easier to obtain. Scholarships are easier to obtain. I mean, that's obvious, right? And anyone who's denying that is choosing to be willingly ignorant in that subject, right? Yeah. So, you know, I said all that to say, it's bullshit at the end of the day, right? It's about capitalism. It's about those powers to be taking advantage of the empathy that's being thrown around for 28 days out of the fucking year. And so, you know, they're going to capitalize off it. They're going to do what they want to do. Do they actually give a fuck? Maybe some of them, but I would say the numbers are few. But that doesn't mean very few, right? But that doesn't mean this isn't the opportunity for Black people to also profit from that in a specific way. I'm not saying ignore that is bullshit. It's obvious to us. And for those who are conscious of it, you know, at the end of the day, all we can do is say, we see you. We see what you're doing. We recognize the bullshit, but we're going to play along because it's going to be mutually beneficial to do so. You know what I mean? True. So the answer to me is that, you know, yes, it is definitely a representation of American capitalism. And, you know, we're still not equivalent to those who consider other folks to be tolerable minorities where we are. And this is really just a slap in the face to us in the face of not actually giving us the appropriate reparations that we're due. So, you know, at the end of the day, we just got to do what we can do, capitalize the way we can, profit from it the way we can, but continue to be aware, continue to be conscious, continue to, you know, advocate for Black history outside of this bullshit as 20, I'm not even going to call it a month. It's 28 days, you know, every other 28 days, every other month in the calendar year has 30 days at least in it. It's not even a month. This is 28 days.
28, unless there's a leap year and you get that.
Less than right, exactly. It's not even a leap year. So, I mean, whatever. But, you know, at the end of the day, we're going to make it do what it do because that's who we are. We're perseverance and we're the truest representation of perseverance. And so we'll keep it pushing. But that's my thoughts on that, sir.
Wow. Well, yeah, definitely. I agree with everything you said. What I would add to that, or maybe not even add, I'm probably just going to, you know, give my spin on things or my spin on what you said. So I think two things could exist at the same time. So we can celebrate Black History Month, but at the same time, acknowledge that Black history is way more than just a month. You know, like the way I look at it, I always say Black history 24/7, 365.
Right.
You know, Black history, 24/7, 365. That's pretty much how I look at it. That's my mantra, because I'm always studying Black history. I'm always looking at Black history. I don't wait for February to come and then I say, oh, well, let me go dive a little bit more and learn a little bit more about Black history. No, fuck that. Like I'm always, you know, it doesn't matter if it's March, April, May, it doesn't matter. It could be August, December, it doesn't matter. I'm always doing my research. I'm learning about new people, new things. You know, I'm always learning about Black history. So yeah, Black History Month to me is not really, you know, it's not that big of a deal in that regard. But at the same time, yeah, let's have it. It's a good thing to have. Because of course there's people outside of us, you know, white, Asian, Latino, even some Black people who just, they don't really do the research or look deeper into Black history outside of February. So Black History Month is there for those people, for the most part, to, I guess, kick off their consciousness a little bit, to maybe possibly want to look a little bit deeper, to dive a little bit deeper. So, you know, like I said, there's two things that could exist at one time. We could acknowledge that, okay, cool, there's Black History Month. All right, we know it's in February, the shortest month of the year. You know, that's some bullshit, but whatever. But it's there. But at the same time, yeah, but at the same time, it's more than just a month. Black history is forever. Black history is all day, every day, 24/7, 365. It's not just relegated to a month, especially the shortest month of the year. Yeah. And to answer the question directly, it is another part of American capitalism. I mean, let's just be real. It is another part of American capitalism, because the way I see it, and really the way it is, it's really the major white-owned corporations that are profiting the most. If we're talking economics, really, it's the corporations, the big retailers, you know, the big giants, basically, that are able to do their advertising for Black History Month. They're able to sell clothes, you know, they're able to sell merchandise, whatever they can sell based on Black History Month. They're the ones who get all the profit. You know, Black History Month, it's not even a month where Black business is profit because of Black History Month, but let's be real here. It's really the major corporations, like I said, the big retailers, that are going to profit the most off of Black History Month.
Absolutely right, sir. Totally agree there.
You know, it is just another part of American capitalism. It's basically just business as usual. It's that February is just that month where they can kind of, and not even kind of, they can adopt a whole social justice attitude or persona and act like they care about racism and trying to stop racism. But at the end of the day, it's really just another way for them to just sell more merchandise and capitalize off of Black people, really.
Exactly. Because if they really gave a shit, it would be all year round that this merchandise would be available. It would be all year round that you would see their camaraderie standing with us. The only time you're going to hear some of these places even mention Black Lives Matter or any other form of support towards the Black community is during Black History 28 days.
Right. Right.
I refuse to acknowledge that shit as a month. It ain't no fucking month. It's 28 days.
You're right. We can say, yeah, Black History 28 days. Or on a leap year, 29 days.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, those 28 to 29 days is just these big businesses profiting the most off of Black history, while Black people in general don't really profit off of it economically anyway. You know, that we might get recognition. People are going to recognize us more. They're going to recognize our ancestors and our historical figures and our elders. They're going to recognize them more. But when it's all said and done, once those 28 to 29 days are up, they're done. You know, it's on to the next thing. It's just
so right. You are so right.
Yeah, it's just that Black history is part of the machine, part of the American capitalist machine. It's just part of that conveyor belt, because once Black History Month is over, it's on to the next thing. It's just a constant thing.
They have to show they tried, right? Or to show they participated. But do they actually give a fuck? No.
Right, exactly. And then going back to what you were saying about, you know, different groups receiving their reparations, and which is true, which they have, whether it be the Native Americans, the Japanese. I know there's other groups that have received some form of reparations as well. Black people definitely need to receive reparations. You know, Black Americans definitely are way overdue for reparations. But of course, like you mentioned, when it comes down to Black people in America receiving reparations, it's just basically just a lot of excuses that come up. And what I've seen that the powers that be do is they engage in a lot of tokenism. They you know, they're cool with having a token Negro in some high position somewhere in politics or whatever, and they'll say, oh, well, you know, there's a Black person in this political position, or you have Black representation. Yeah, you have Black representation in this area, but, you know, it's not helping the collective of Black people. It's basically a bunch of tokenism. And that's another thing that Black History Month is just, okay, yeah, we acknowledge you, we see you, and that's pretty much it, you know. But as far as economics, finance, you know, tangibles, they're not about that. They're not about nope. So yeah, that's another thing that irks me about Black History Month, is that part of it. It's the tokenism part of it. It's just, hey, we see you, we acknowledge you. It's basically like Juneteenth also. Juneteenth is pretty much in that realm also. It's like, hey, well, we gave you a holiday. We're acknowledging you. We're acknowledging that you exist. So what are you complaining about? What, you know, so it's basically that.
Ooh, you said something with that one too.
Yeah,
it's so funny because I was just talking to someone the other day about Juneteenth, and don't get me wrong, I am very much. I would say that I'm more so comfortable with Juneteenth than I am Black History Month, because I think to a certain extent Juneteenth is seen as more authentic than Black History Month, right? For a lot of people, at least a lot of people that I know, a lot of people identify with Juneteenth more so than, say, Black History Month or July 4th. So from that perspective, I appreciate that, because it's kind of serving as a catalyst for people to become more aware, even if it is still somewhat a foundation of capitalism, more so than anything, because it is resonating with people as being more authentic. It is allowing for people to open their minds up and expand their minds a little bit more, in my opinion, than, say, Black History Month or, you know, definitely July 4th. Most people I know, Black people I know, have totally stepped away from the traditional celebrations of July 4th.
Myself included.
Exactly, same. It's more so a cookout, right? Like, we just want to cook out and chill with fam and play some spades. And, you know what I'm saying? Enjoy being Black and American. right? But, it's definitely one of those things where I think your point is absolutely valid. Like Juneteenth is another one where it's great. The sentimentalism behind it is great, right? But at the same time, it is still, at the end of the day, a capitalist way to pacify Black people.
Perfect word, right? Pacify. Yep.
Yeah, that's really the use of it right now. Now, it's an opportunity to actually expand that use for Black people because again, it's opening up the mind, since people are identifying it as a little more authentic than July 4th and Black History Month, but you are spot on that it too is also a catalyst for capitalism. So definitely agree with you there.
Yep. And yes, indeed. I mean, it's good to have it. And just like with Black History Month, I see it the same way. The two things could exist. I could acknowledge that Juneteenth is good to have, but at the same time, look, I see the bullshit also with that, right. I see the tokenism with that too. And it just gets to a point where I'm just like, okay, y'all just need to come up off the reparations. I'm gonna just put it simple and plain. Right. Descendants of American slaves need their reparations straight up. Exactly. So, that's really all I could say to that is, okay, y'all keep doing these things to like you said, pacify Black people, but it's enough with the pacifying. Let's get down to the tangibles. So, yeah.
Exactly. Totally agree. Definitely agree with you on that topic, sir. I think for the most part, we see through it, right?
Right. we see through the bullshit.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly right. We see through the bullshit. Like we get it. Y'all can technically say that you've been supportive of, Black history and what we've contributed. But the reality of it is it's tokenism. I think that's definitely a great word. So we are on the same page, sir.
Yes, we are.